Okay, so kind of continuing my video from earlier in the day about basically dispelling and saying how fake these new rumors are for Transformers 8 about Sam Witwicky, Michaela Baines, and Cade Yeager returning for the sequel and basically making it a sequel to The Last Night to conclude the Michael Bay universe or whatever they're trying to spin out there. And it got me thinking a little bit here about the future and what Paramount actually has planned and what we know about as the public recently, the last year or year and a half. And it's really not much. And what we do know, it seems like Paramount has no idea what the hell they're doing with Transformers at this point. And it's really upsetting me as a fan of this franchise. I got in 2007 when the first movie came out. I was in there, the theaters, day one when it dropped, I think July 3rd or July 4th or whatever of that summer. It was amazing. I remember watching Bumblebee versus Barricade vividly in theaters as a little kid. It was just amazing, and I've been a fan ever since. And seeing this downfall since about 2017 with the movie stuff has been so sad to see. And the fact that they added in the G.I. Joe ending last minute, I think they said Stephen Caple Jr. or Lorenzo or both of them in this one interview. I remember it was like a couple weeks before Rise of the Beast dropped. They were talking about spoilers, maybe by accident, I can't remember. They were talking about the G.I. Joe ending, and they said that they added that in about 2 weeks before they finished the movie. And I think at that time, that was about a month before that interview dropped. So around maybe like March or April, I'd say, they added that scene into the film, which was absolutely insane to me. And I remember people were freaking out, and the movie dropped, and it wasn't as bad as some people were thinking, but it still wasn't as great. That was the general consensus. I mean, it was a decent movie, but nothing amazing or spectacular like people were hoping for. I was one to kind of go against the grain of that a little bit when the movie first came out, and I dropped my review and I gave you guys my thoughts on it. Some of you guys may remember that I was kind of glazing the movie when it first came out. I guess I kind of had some recency bias, but over time I watched the movie more and I let it settle in over the last year and a half now, almost 2 years, which is crazy. Time flies. My mind has changed on this over the last year and a half, and I've touched on this a little bit in certain videos, and I'm probably going to make a dedicated video on this probably tomorrow. In terms of where they want to go for this franchise, they have backed themselves into a corner a little bit by adding this G.I. Joe ending, and I don't know what Lorenzo or Paramount were even thinking. I think Stephen Caple Jr. knew what he wanted to do. He seemed like a guy that was at least a casual fan of Transformers, that was interested in learning more about the franchise so he can actually make a good movie, because it's not like Rise of the Beast was bad. It was still a step in the right direction. Some people want to say it's not as good as Bumblebee, even though I would have to disagree. I think Rise of the Beast is actually better than Bumblebee. I find Bumblebee, it has way too much human story in it, not enough action, not enough robot story, and it just falls flat. It feels a little boring to me. So I think Rise of the Beast was a step in the right direction in that sense, and it seemed like Stephen Caple Jr. kind of had an idea on where he wanted to go. He said he wanted to bring back Megatron for the sequel. He said he had some ideas for this G.I. Joe crossover movie. So I really do feel like it was detrimental when we got the news, I think it was around this time last year, correct me if I'm wrong, that he would not be returning for this G.I. Joe crossover movie, even though he was already set to basically return. It wasn't like fully confirmed, but they basically did confirm it through interviews while not actually saying it outright from Paramount or whatever, you know what I mean? That, to me at least, that was kind of a writing on the wall that this may not be going in a good direction, at least for the time being, maybe for like another year, year and a half. Now, we've had a writer attached to this movie for maybe like 6-7 months now at this point, I think. And there's still no news on the story. There's still no news on script updates, how far along they are on development. There's no filming dates, even though Lorenzo said back in, I think, September that he wants to drop this movie in summer of 2026. That's like the general consensus at Paramount right now. Who knows, that may have changed. It could be summer of 2027 at this point, which it seems more likely, because I think by now we would have gotten more word on this movie, maybe a teaser poster, maybe an official title reveal or something, because we're supposedly a year and a half away from this movie dropping, and we basically know nothing. It's crickets on this film. So I would be surprised if the ball starts rolling in the next couple months. Obviously, I would like that as a Transformers fan, and especially somebody who has a YouTube channel talking about this stuff. It would make things a little more exciting. It would drum up hype and just be amazing to talk about with you guys and drop videos and content on about this next Transformers movie coming out next year. That's a G.I. Joe crossover, but it seems like Paramount just doesn't know what the hell they want to do with this franchise at this point, especially with Transformers 1 flopping. Now, that is an animated movie, but it's still Transformers. It's still a movie that Paramount put up millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to make the movie, and it was just straight up diminishing returns to the point where I don't know, maybe they're just not going to do animated Transformers movies anymore. It's really sad to see, guys. I just hope Paramount gets a good plan together, because there's a lot of magic still there for Transformers live action movies. I mean, just with this G.I. Joe crossover alone, there's so many stories they could tap into. It's not like the G.I. Joe characters are so one-dimensional. There's so much you could pick from the cartoons and the comic books, especially if you're looking at inspiration for the collab with Transformers. There's so many comic books on that alone that Paramount and the writer attached to this movie can draw ideas from for a plot point for this film. It's really not that hard. I've talked about this in previous videos over the last year or year and a half, that it's really not that hard to drum up a good, interesting story with a G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover to the point where it's going to get butts in the seats in summer of 2026. So I just don't know what's taking them so long. Why are they overthinking things? Why are they trying to act like it's so hard to do this collab movie? Because the way Lorenzo is talking, the way he makes it seem when he does an update on this movie, it's like they're trying not to bring in too many characters. They're not like trying to overflood the movie with all these different story points and MacGuffins or whatever, which I do understand, I do agree with. But at the same time, you really shouldn't be worrying about that, because there's so much material already on this from the regular lore from the cartoons or comic books, to the point where you basically have it outlined for you, and you don't even need to like over worry and stress out over what character's story and how many characters you're going to put into this. So I just don't understand why they're thinking so hard. Well, I do know why. It's because, there's a lot on the line with money and Paramount as a company for this movie to actually do good, and for the Transformers franchise as a whole, basically. But at the same time, why overthink things? This story can be so streamlined and simple, but so captivating to regular viewers nowadays. Drop an action-packed trailer similar to the first couple Bayverse movies, how they used to do it, while also updating it to modern times, obviously. And there you go. I don't know why it's so hard at this point, guys. It's really annoying to me as a Transformers fan, but yeah, let me know down in the comments below. How do y'all feel about Paramount seemingly not really having a plan for the future of the live-action Transformers franchise? All my social medias are linked down below, including my email, if you guys want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to commission a diorama from me, because I make dioramas for people for their stop motions, photography, or your regular display shelves in your homes. You can either hit me up on any of my social media accounts, or you could just email me and we can work out a deal. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!